If you're anything like me, you're a huge Casio fan. Today I'm wearing my DW290 and it's such a unique, cool, lightweight, super interesting watch. My biggest problem is deciding which Casio to wear on any given day. So, surprise, surprise, I've got an unboxing for you, and it is a Casio, but it is from the Edifice lineup, and I got it on Amazon. Sadly, my wife is not a big fan of my addiction to finding watches on Amazon, but I do love it, so it's a great place to go. EFV620D, this is an analog digital sub $100 stainless Edifice. Let's get started. First thing we notice is the higher quality packaging Casio puts into the Edifice series. A much nicer, more robust box, and who doesn't appreciate that? You have a couple of warnings on the box, as well as a little leaflet here going over the button-style batteries. Nothing new here, but just a blanket disclaimer for all of their different lithium batteries that they use in their watches. As we get to the watch and get it out of the box here, and let's establish our first impression, removing our familiar Casio plastic bag, and our watch is sitting on top of not a plastic stand, but a small unbranded pillow there. Still a nice touch, not your typical Casio unboxing. And there's our first impression. This is a lot of watch. Very hefty, large stainless steel bracelet. As we get our protective film off of that beautiful mineral glass, this is a chronograph dial. We have our crown, which is a push-pull crown, not screw down, and two plunger-style buttons at the 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock position. That will start, stop, and reset our stopwatch feature on the chronograph. Let's get the unboxing complete. We'll get the watch set up in a few, but this is module 5579. And this is not a book, but a pamphlet of paper. Also includes our 1-year warranty from Casio. Pretty typical stuff there. Let's go over some key specs here. The case size on this watch is 50.5 millimeter. Higher weight, 154 grams or 5.4 ounces with all the links attached. It is a mineral glass, as we said, stainless steel, 100-meter water resistance on a screw-on caseback, but a analog push-pull 2-click crown. 3-hand timekeeping on the main dial. We do have 3 sub-dials for our chronograph that keeps a tenth of a second, second, and minutes. We have a wider than normal lug width of 24 millimeter and only a minor amount of lume applied just at the minute and hour hands. Current MSRP is $110 at the time of recording. Street price coming in at an amazing $75. I will put links in the description. Pricing is subject to change, so please check those for the latest pricing. Let's spin the watch around a little bit and look at some of the details here. We do have our stainless steel bracelet, as we mentioned, with a signed buckle. A little bit more plastic on there, like having the Edifice branding. And it seems like there may be a little bit of minor scuffing there from the packaging, but nothing too terrible. I did mention the current price is $75. I did buy this watch with my own money, and at this price point, it's hard to argue with what you're getting. For under $100, a true chronograph, 100-meter water resistance, and just dependable, wonderfully reliable Casio quality. Great first impression. Unboxing complete. Let's get the desk organized, and we'll get a closer look at this watch. Let's utilize our shipping pillow and get a closer look at this watch. You can see that's definitely undersized, and this bracelet is fairly large. Definitely going to be taking some links out of this one. Should fit a lot of folks though. I would guess 6.5 up to 8.5 inch wrist would work great. We do have micro adjust at the clasp. Let's go ahead and get this attached to a larger pillow and get it situated so we can get some better angles as we review more of the details here. The first thing I notice is the colorway, the black, the white, the stainless, and the red. And for me, it's all about the red. I love how it brings out the sportiness, but at the same time is not overused and adds a lot of class on the second hand as well as in the subdials. We have applied chapter markers that are combined with some printing. We do have the logo as well as some reference markers around the chapter ring that are printed. Other elements to point out is the date complication at the 4 o'clock position. Looks a little unfinished. Would have liked to have seen that outlined in white perhaps. At this price point, it's arguable that I'm being a little picky, but aside from that, the watch face just works. And I love how everything ties together and is relatively easy to read. Well, at least in a well-lit room or in daylight. But we'll get to that in a minute. As we spin the watch and take a look at the rest of the details of the bracelet, got a little bit of shipping rash there on the buckle, but that's not going to be a deal breaker for me. I'm probably going to be switching this bracelet out anyway, but for what this price point is, this is an EDC watch. You're going to get a lot more than that wearing this watch every day, so not too worried about that. It's stainless steel, it's rugged. It's meant to be worn every day, so I'm not going to be too concerned. I'm going to let the scratches happen as life happens. And this thing looks awesome. Take a look at the crown guard around our crown and the A and B plungers. Got some nice polishing elements there combining with that brushed on the top line, and at the bracelet you have a really good balance of brushing and polish at the sides and link points on the bracelet. Speaking of the A and B button, let's talk about some of the controls. If we take a quick look at the inner dial wrap there, you see the red lettering. We've got the start stop button on the top. That's our A button. And then of course the bottom button is the B button, is our reset button. Start, stop, reset, pretty straightforward stuff for a stopwatch. The top subdial is our 1/10 of a second hand. The middle left subdial is our stopwatch minute hand. And of course, the bottom subdial is our second hand. I love the red skeletonized arrow-shaped marker. It just looks really cool. And using the stopwatch is pretty simple. The A button or the top button will start stop. You can do split time and or 2 finishes utilizing the B button accordingly. The stopwatch measures up to 59 minutes, 59.9 seconds. At 60 minutes, stopwatch feature will automatically discontinue. And I didn't realize how much I would enjoy using this chronograph. It is very intuitive and satisfying to use, and I find myself actuating the mechanism quite a bit. Love it. Great complication to have on an analog timepiece that's under $100. Just extremely useful and the ultimate fidget gadget on your wrist. There, I said it.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Fine, but it's still fun to use. Seriously. All right, back to our review. Let me go ahead and get this bracelet adjusted so we can get a look at the case back real quick. As we remove one of the spring bars to open up the band to get a look at the case back a little bit better. Shameless plug, I had to grab my Amazon Basics desk mat to protect the watch and the surface. Always use it before working on your watch to keep it safe and scratch free. A little closer look at the screw-on case back as well as the bracelet. We have our predictably dependable push-out friction pins connecting the links. A little stainless steel call-out on the stamped folding buckle system. Everything looks in order here. Let's see if we can adjust and zoom in a little closer to see that screw-on case back. Got that beautiful circular brushing. In the center, we do have the Edifice Casio branding stamped in, as well as some call-outs for 100-meter water resistance, the module number, stainless steel. Pretty typical stuff, but nicely done. Through the magic of YouTube, I'm going to go ahead and take out some links and get this thing on wrist so we can wrap up our video. If you're uncomfortable working on your own watch, please take it to a qualified watch technician to size it. That said, it is pretty basic stuff here with a link removal tool. We're pushing out the friction pin in the direction of the arrows and then pulling out the pin to disconnect the links to taste, and we'll get it on our wrists. All right, 4 links removed later. I like my watches to feel a little snug, especially watches that are a little bit heavier so they're not flopping around my wrist. Let's get this on and see how comfortable it is. And it definitely feels nice. I was worried about the larger size of this watch. It rides nicely on the wrist. I do appreciate the fact that we get a generous 4-position micro adjust. So I may be taking that in a hair to give it just a bit more snug, secure fit. But very nice. Very happy with this watch. It looks and feels awesome. Definitely not a small watch, but I think this will work for a lot of folks. Buttons are easy to actuate while aboard the wrist, which is always much appreciated. And it rides nice and low profile. Should be pretty sleeve friendly for a lot of folks to wear in a work setting or in a cooler weather setting. What's not to love? Just definitely a watch that's very easy on the eyes, nice to look at. And I underestimated the bracelet. It's very comfortable and overall very pleasant. For a budget bracelet, it actually works just fine for this watch. So I wouldn't hesitate recommending leaving this watch as is. So yep, the stock bracelet is a keeper for sure. And so is this watch. But alas, we come to some of the downsides of the watch, and probably the most glaring one, sarcastic pun intended, is the lack of lume. Let's hit it with my favorite Olight arc feld that features a UV beam, and we'll see if we can fire up some of this lume here. And we're only seeing it on the hour minute hand, as well as the accent points around the bezel, and that is it. With all the paint on the applied indices, I figured there'd be Lume throughout. I'm not gonna lie, this is a bit of a letdown for me. If Casio would ever focus on Lume, especially with their higher end brands such as the Edifice series, they would definitely be in the same conversation with Seiko and Citizen. Again, this is one minor flaw, not gonna break my heart, but would love to see it someday, and I would pay the premium for sapphire glass for better Lume, especially in the Edifice series. As we wrap up our video real quick, I wanted to talk about the strap options. If you do have 22mm straps, they will work. However, there are plenty of 24mm watch bands and straps out there that you can find. I did find one on Amazon with a colorway that I was really interested in, and let's see how this one works. Definitely a nice feel, high quality. Love the brushed stainless hardware. Very pronounced, very robust. 24mm webbing here for our NATO strap. Let's get this thing attached and on the wrist. And I don't know about you, but this colorway looks awesome with this strap. What do you think? All right, let's wrap up this video. And I tell you what, that NATO strap on this watch changes the watch. It looks like a different watch. It looks amazing. Here it is next to our SKX 007 from Seiko, and it's holding its own. It's got a lot of character. It's got a lot of cool elements to it, and I'll tell you what, I may be leaving this NATO strap on this watch. It's just holding its own against our SKX 007. Two awesome watches. But we've come full circle. It's back to our Casio DW290, and how about this for a two-watch collection? Very unique, wonderful two Casios. Just so hard to beat. Casio fanboy, I know. All right, get this NATO on wrist, wrap up the vid, and what do you think? I think this strap is a keeper as well. Love the colorway, love the quality of the hardware and the webbing. It should last quite a while. It looks amazing, and this watch is definitely a keeper. This is the Edifice, the EFV620D. This may be the best watch on Amazon right now for the money, and I like it, folks. Highly recommended. Let me know your thoughts. That wraps up this video. Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Did I mention how much I love the stopwatch? All right, I'm really leaving this time. If you stuck around this long, you are awesome, and thanks again for watching my video.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.